What's going on, guys? It's your boy Christian, and welcome your faces back to another video. Now in today's video, we're actually going to be taking the A7II and going over the custom button settings. Now you guys did ask for this. Well, one person asked for this. I actually put it out and let you guys actually pick what's going to be next in the beginner's guide and custom buttons, which is something I've done well far back in the past, when well before I got here and moved into this studio. So what we're going to be doing in today's video is we're going to be breaking down what the C1 buttons mean here on the Sony A7II and basically what you can customize them to. So let's go ahead and jump into it. So we are taking a look at our Sony A7II, and it's kind of an overhead, but it's not as straight pointed down. First things first, let's go ahead and go over where the actual custom buttons are on the Sony A7II. And as you can see, we have C1 right here, we have C2 right there, and then we have C3 right here on the back with the magnifying glass next to it. So basically what that's basically telling you is that when you're actually reviewing your photos, you can click the C3 button and it will actually magnify your photos so you can see them in a little bit more detail. And then you also have the C4 button right down here, which as well, it has a trash can on it, and that is so you can delete photos when you're actually reviewing them in the camera. So let's go ahead and drop a battery in here because I'm sure this bad baby is completely dead. So we're going to drop a battery on here, turn it on, and let's see what we are presented with. My screen is so bad. So basically how you get to your custom button settings, you want to hit your menu button, and we want to go, well, we don't want to start there because that's actually where we're going to be going. We're going to go to the second tab, and then we're going to go all the way to the sixth row on the second tab. So second tab, sixth option. And then we're going to go down to custom key settings. Now, if you go back real quick, you can see that it says dial settings too. Now, if you guys want to get a quick rundown of the front dial and back dial, we can use that as episode 6. So let me know down in the comments if you guys want some, a little bit of a rundown of the shutter button and aperture button here on the front of the Sony A7II. So we're going to go ahead and jump into the custom key settings. And when you jump in here, you can actually see that the control wheel has a button. The custom buttons that we already went over, the 1, 2, 3, and 4, are actually on here, and they also have default sets. Now, if we jump over here to our second tab, you can see that we have even more custom settings that we can choose and pick from here on our Sony A7II. So we can choose any of these buttons around the dial here. We can also choose the center button. The autofocus, manual focus switcher selector here can be used as a different custom button. So it's really customizable on how you can do it. So let's go ahead and jump back into our custom key settings and let's see. So first of all, we have the control wheel. I don't have it set to anything, but I do usually set the control wheel to ISO. The reason I don't have it set there is because in, I believe, episode 2 or 3, we actually reset the whole Sony A7II, so all of my custom settings aren't set here on the camera. We will be going through and actually setting those while we go through this custom button settings in this video. So the control wheel, like I said, I usually set it to ISO. But as you can see, when we jump into the settings here, it only has around 5 different things you can pick from. Well, 4 because not set isn't really an option. So ISO, white balance, creative style, and picture profile is the only things you can map the control wheel to. So like I said, I usually use ISO, and that's something easy because you don't have to end up pressing the left button, well, the right button here to get into ISO and then changing your ISO. But we will be talking about a different button we'll be also using for ISO just for photography. So we're going to go down to our custom button 1. Now this is going to be white balance. Now remember, custom button 1 is right here on the top. Now I don't really like it set to white balance, so we're actually going to set it to any of these. And when you jump into the actual custom button settings, you have way more options. I'm not going to go through every last one of these, but you can do anything on the camera through these buttons. Now, Of course, not anything. You can't map this to, you know, take a photo or anything like that, but anything that has a setting in the camera that isn't like a default shutter setting or stuff like that can be mapped to any of these custom buttons. So in this case scenario, I'm not actually going to set this to anything. I'm just showing you guys basically what you can set these to and basically kind of something that I would use. Now, if I wanted to use this button as a custom button, I would probably use it as maybe like a focus magnifier. And the reason I would use it is if I'm using any, you know, not automatic lenses here on the Sony A7II, I can just use that top button as a focus magnifier to make sure I'm actually getting good focus. So that one is actually pretty good being set to focus magnifier. Now you got custom button number 2, and by default this is focus setting, and what that basically does is it's going to change you from autofocus to manual focus, just depending on what you want that to be. And remember, custom button 2 is right here at the top of the camera. Now custom button 3 on the back here, we already talked about what this little icon next to the custom button actually does, and this is actually set to focus mode. So remember, we actually talked about focus modes in a beginner's guide video, so this is another way of getting to the focus modes. And like I said, definitely customizable. You have all of those options that you had in custom button 1 and 2 that's going to be available for custom button 3 and 4. Now we're going to move away from the actual custom buttons. We talked about 1, 2, and 3, and of course 4 you can see that is basically not set to anything. Now the center button is set to eye autofocus. Now I don't necessarily use eye autofocus on here, and I'm not sure how well it actually works on the A7II. I know on the A7 IV I do use it for my talking head, but here on the A7II I don't think it is as intuitive as it is on the newer cameras, so I would probably not set this to eye autofocus. What I would probably set this to, if I had to just get a, you know, a good custom button set going, I would probably use this as like maybe a steady shot on and off, and that's going to be something that, you know, you're going to use respectively with an unstabilized lens or with a stabilized lens. Now I do a lot of, you know, back and forth here on the Sony A7 II, so I need those APS-C settings to be kind of quick, and sometimes, you know, I don't use APS-C on this camera. I will use a full frame, but remember, you do have the best of both worlds on the A7 II because you can do Super 35 crop mode. So let's go ahead and jump over to custom key setting 2. Now custom key setting 2, like we already went over before we start going into specifics, was this is going to be all controlling the mode or scroll dial right here on the back, not the mode dial. Mode dial is at the top, scroll wheel back here on the back. So as you can see, it's labeled with the icons on the camera. So up is display, you know, right is ISO, left is going to be your drive mode and your timer mode, and then down is usually not set to anything, and it doesn't have an icon below it, so we can basically set that to anything we want. So with the left button, setting it to drive mode is fine. With the right button, setting it to ISO is, you know, it's fine as well, until you get a little bit more advanced with running your camera. Then you can start not using the actual labeled buttons, and you can just change them here in the custom button setting 2 and actually put them to something that will actually help you operate your camera a little bit quicker. Now, other than that, that is basically about it. Now, let me go ahead and take you guys through everything that's in the custom button 1 through 4 settings that you can basically choose from. I'm going to start at the top, and I'm actually just going to roll it down. As you can see, we got focus area, we got ISO, white balance, steady shot, you know, we got Super 35, we got, you know, autofocus locking, we got, you know, AEL locking, we got aperture lock, we got movie mode. We have a little bit of everything you can set the custom buttons to. And remember, custom button 1, 2, 3, and 4 can be set to any of those. So that's actually going to be it. Like I said, I reset this camera, so I'm not going to go and actually put it to what I would actually have it to, because, you know, I want this camera to be kind of, you know, right out the box when I'm doing these videos, so you guys can actually get a feel for how you will be getting your Sony A7 II. Anyways, that's going to be it. That's the custom button settings for our Sony A7 II. That's basically a whole rundown of how these bad babies work. Now, just a quick little, reiteration here. Now, these buttons are going to work in movie mode and picture mode. The cameras didn't come out with the separate movie mode and separate picture mode settings until I believe the A7 III had a little bit, and then the A7 IV has its dedicated mode dial, which you can put in different areas. So if you want to take videos, all of your custom settings are going to be tailored towards video, and if you want to shoot photos, you can have a lot of custom settings tailored just towards photo. But you cannot do it here on the Sony A7 II. The custom buttons that you see are the custom buttons that you get, and they are going to be universal across photos and videos. So that's going to be it, guys. If you guys have been enjoying, make sure you hit that like button, and let me know down in the comments below what you guys want to see on the next episode of the Sony A7 II Beginner's Guide. This is going to be the custom settings, custom buttons, so hopefully you guys did get a little bit of information from this and can run with it and actually customize your Sony A7 II how you like it. Anyways, this is me, your boy Christian. If you enjoyed, hit that like button. And if you just happen to be new here, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys on the next one.